What I'm about to tell you really happened, and it's not a ghost story in the way you might expect. The thing that haunted him wasn't a spirit, it was money. This happened when my friend Ethan was in his late 20s. He just started working as a car salesman. At first, he was incredibly motivated, always early, always smiling, always chasing deals. Everyone thought he was going to do well, but after about 6 months, something changed. After morning meetings, Ethan started disappearing. While the rest of us went out to look for customers, he'd go home, sleep, play games. Sales dropped. Then his mood changed. He started looking tired, empty, like he wasn't really there anymore. Then he began borrowing money. At first, it was small amounts, $300, $500. He always said he'd pay it back next month. We knew how commissions worked, so we believed him, but the amounts kept growing. That's when we found out Ethan had started gambling. At first, he thought he could win enough to cover expenses, tint shops, detailing fees, car payments. But gambling doesn't work like that. He lost more than he won. Bills piled up. Credit cards maxed out. Loans went unpaid. And still, he kept buying things. New phone, smartwatch, even upgraded his car. By then, he was drowning. One morning after a sales meeting, 3 tint shop owners showed up together. They pulled Ethan into a back room. I could hear raised voices, deadlines, threats. He needed cash immediately. The only thing he had left was his car. Ethan found out there were places that would lend money using your car as collateral, but every legitimate company rejected him. His credit was destroyed. His car still had a lien on it. Desperate, he went to a pawn shop. They told him they couldn't help, but they knew someone who could. They gave him an address. It was a small 3-story building in a quiet part of the city. Heavy security, locked gates, intercoms. No signs, just a name on the wall that sounded like a normal trading company. Inside, a man told Ethan they'd lend him $10,000, but the interest was 10% per month, and the interest was taken up front. Ethan walked out with $7,000 and a contract saying he owed $10,000 in 3 months. He knew it was insane. He signed anyway. He lost that money too. A week later, he went back, borrowed more, worse terms, higher interest. 3 months passed. He couldn't pay. On the due date, 3 men came to the dealership and calmly took Ethan outside. The next day, he came back looking hollow, like something inside him had been scooped out. A week later, he sent a message saying he couldn't come to work anymore. Then he vanished. He packed his things, drove across the country, hid in a cheap motel. They found him anyway. They'd put a tracker on his car. This time, they gave him 3 choices. First, repay the debt with his body. Second, work for them, doing illegal online jobs. Third, bring them another person. Ethan chose the third. He tried to find drunks passed out in alleys, anyone desperate enough to disappear. But it wasn't easy. Cameras were everywhere. He failed, so they forced him into the second option. The debt grew faster than he could imagine. Interest on interest, 30% per month. The number stopped feeling real. Finally, Ethan did something desperate. He got himself arrested, on purpose. He went to prison for a year. When he was released, they were waiting. They told him the debt had grown to $5 million. His father sold everything. The house, the car, borrowed from relatives, begged friends. They paid. Afterward, the men took Ethan and his father to the basement. They showed him something something they do to people who choose the first option. Then they let him go. Ethan works repairing computers now. Quiet life. No gambling, no debt. But he told me something before we stopped talking. He said, "Money isn't possessed by ghosts. Money is the ghost. Once it grabs you, it never really lets go." That's why I'll never say money is just paper. I've seen what it can turn people into.